Ninja moving to YouTube, Tayson and Chapix splitting, Malibuca with the back-to-back Cash Cup wins, and some changes to the late game tournament format. That is what we're going to talk about today, so let's get into it. Starting off with Ninja and his weird way of ending his stream on Twitch a few days ago. Basically, here's the clip.
Did they rift? What the hell is that? Why is the rift in the middle of the sky?
Can't do it anymore, dude. Can't.
What happened?
I'm fucking sick of this, dude. I'm sick of these fucking players spamming Riftigos every single. I've had enough, man. No, I'm not even fucking kidding, dude. I've had enough. I can't even. I'm not even. I'm leaving.
No way.
I'm done. I'm done. In fact, I'm honestly, dude, I'm not even gonna, I gotta take a break from streaming, dude. I'm gonna lose my fucking mind, bro.
And essentially that sort of prompted him to just stop streaming. He just went offline after that, basically didn't do anything, and just sort of went on this crazy sort of breakdown on Twitter as well. So I don't know if there's anything mentally going on there, and hopefully he's able to find the help that he's required. But there is some clues here as to why this might have happened, and sort of all the things happening all at the same time. So one of the biggest indications it seems to look like he's going over towards YouTube gaming. Now, if you take a look at the evidence here, first of all, in the tweet that he made, he basically said he doesn't know where exactly he's going to be live yet again, and that sort of points towards him maybe moving to a different platform, no longer being a part of Twitch. Alongside that, his Twitter's been blanked out over towards user not found. So super weird stuff all going on here, with his profile picture also changed abruptly. You know, these things, you know, I don't want to speak for him, but they sort of point towards more of a marketing thing rather than something horribly going wrong with him. Hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully it is a marketing thing, obviously, in that case. And alongside that, if you take a look at when Ninja got signed towards Twitch, it was back in September again. So now his Twitch partners run out. If you go to his Twitch channel, his sub button is gone, and everything alongside that, meaning that it looks like his Twitch partner contract also ran out. So all of the signs point towards Ninja going over towards YouTube gaming. Maybe there's another website that's out there that goes crazy, but probably not. And I think YouTube gaming is probably going to be the play, more than likely coming into the next few weeks. We also did see a bunch of different creators getting signed recently to YouTube gaming, namely people like Swag, big in the Warzone community. He being sent over towards YouTube recently as well. Maybe it's YouTube making big money moves now over towards the gaming space, taking the biggest boys from all of the top tier battle royale games or the gaming space. Swag is top tier in Warzone, Ninja's top tier within Fortnite as well, and I guess maybe YouTube is basically just poaching all these players and these streamers and entertainers over towards YouTube and making them massive move. Go over to the second thing, Tayson and Chapix seeming like they basically split on Fortnite. Basically we just saw in this last duo, Cash Cup, Tayson and Chapix both playing with two different players. We saw Tayson making a looking for duo tweet, Chapix not making one, but I got confirmation from Andy that him and Chapix were playing together. So we have Joe and Andy, who did super well in the previous grand finals of the FNCS, basically getting top 5, them splitting all of a sudden right before the invitational, Tayson and Chapix also splitting, and now we have Andy and Chapix qualifying to the duo Cash Cup together. Andy said in DMs basically that him and Joe weren't really working out. They weren't able to make Cash Cup finals together at all because it just ended up W keying too much. So, you know, that famous saying of with zero without Chapix for Andy, seemingly true in this situation. According to him at least, you know, they did play Saudi Arabia together. They did do super well in that tournament as well, and it looks like Andy and Chapix are here to stay. The most interesting part is going into the FNCS Invitational, is there room for changes, and can they maybe swap over with other players together? Because I believe, according to some players, that the deadline was a few weeks ago, so you can no longer swap. We talked about this with the DKS Norelli and Bad Sniper situation about going towards the invitational. I believe Bad Sniper had a set period where he could invite his duo. He's now invited Norelli to the invitational, and that is basically set up. So I don't think people can change anymore. And I've asked a few pros about it, and they've confirmed that basically. So it seems like that Tayson and Chapix are basically going to be forced to play the invitational together. Same thing for Andy and Joe, but when it comes to Rio duos, I guess they're going to be splitting up and maybe playing the FTS together with Chapix and Ziandi being together, and then Tayson and an unknown player playing together. Because Joe hasn't been playing with Tayson yet. I don't think that's going to happen either. Joe qualified with Moneymaker, a young controller player who's been popping off recently towards the Cash Cup finals. Tayson played with Yamza, who's an NA East talent, who's super good, has been popping off, qualified both NA East and EU together. But the question goes, who will Tayson ever play with then in the future? There's not that many people left around that are of Tayson's caliber that can basically set up and be an FNCS winning duo. Some of the names thrown out were people like Hen, possibly him spinning out with Mr. Savage recently. Savage going with iDrop. Hen is a very top tier talent, but hasn't had the best of performances in the past few months and past few seasons. So is Tayson willing to play with someone like Hen? Obviously, Hen still has it within him, just needs to find himself the right duo in this situation. But Tayson has very high expectations, so I guess we'll see what happens in that regard. But I was very excited going into the Invitational that these guys are splitting, but I really wonder if that's baking away basically two good EU teams from winning this Invitational, because those two are the potential to possibly win that LAN. Tayson and Thomas HG did decently at the Saudi Arabia LAN, so Tayson's doing good on LAN. Ziandi and Chapix did very well at the Saudi Arabia LAN as well, so hopefully that doesn't affect it too much, because we want to see top tier duos competing and doing well in the FNCS Invitational. The other thing I want to talk about is Malibuca's recent run of insane performances in the solo Cash Cup and even the trio Cash Cups with Tayson and Murstache together. Malibuca has just won back-to-back solo Cash Cups, which honestly I don't remember if it's been done before. It seems like an achievement that hasn't really been done before. Remind me in the comments if there's something that did happen like this, but even so, doing that in the current meta of no movement. Now, obviously, the last tournament we did have a bit of movement with Shadow Bomb. That's it, basically. But him doing it in this sort of meta, in the off-season, having that motivation to win back-to-back solo Cash Cups is absolute insanity. So let's talk about it. The first Cash Cup that Malibuca won, he won by only 7 points in total, having an average of 19th in placement and average elims of 3.17. So he was definitely focused on W keying, had himself a few pop-off games towards the end of the tournament as well, and basically showed why he's one of the best solo Cash Cup players in the world currently. That was a full no movement meta. You had Trippin in second, Coop in third, Janice in fourth, and then Cammy in fifth. So a very stacked out lobby. But other than that, the quality of this lobby was a little bit weaker compared to this previous week. We had a bunch of the bigger hitters qualifying as well. But if you compare that to the leaderboard of the tournament that Malibuca won this past week, then the quality of the top 5 is a lot lower. Now, the question is, why is that? Well, it's probably because of the addition of the Shadow Bombs. Shadow Bombs being added has basically, I think for a lot of players, seemingly has reduced the skill gap, because obviously all of the smarter and the better players are now not able to make late games as consistently, because all of the worse-ish players are able to use movement as a crutch to basically progress throughout the tournament. And we saw that in the difference of the point total as well. Malibuca won this tournament with 101 points in total compared to the 124 points of the previous week. So we're definitely seeing everyone being a little bit closer now that the movement meta was added. In second, we saw Robert with 95 points, Crazy with 90 points, who's a Russian controller player, coming up and coming. Siren in fourth with 85, and then SLQ, the French player over at Tilted Towers, contesting Savage, funnily enough, with 84 points in fifth on that leaderboard. So we see the difference here of the movement meta. And my question is, what do you guys think about the movement meta currently? Is Shadow Bombs the right way to approach solos? I do think it's a nice little addition towards the end of the season to basically have a lot more of a different meta, a different playstyle. It keeps it fresh, keeps it not stale anymore, and I thoroughly enjoyed watching them on stream as well. So for a fair play to Malibuca, insanity for him to go back to back, and let's see what can do towards the end of the season with one more Cash Cup left to go. The last thing I want to talk about is the bit of drama going over towards the late game arena tournaments. Now, the late game arena tournaments will be starting in about a week for cash prize tournaments, but Epic Games made an announcement about the format changes to the tournament itself. So if you take a look at the tweet that they put up, drop in for 2 hours to earn as many points as possible, and your 10 best scores will count towards your rank on the leaderboard. Now, initially, a lot of the people were very negative towards this tweet, myself included, because it seems like you can basically play an infinite amount of games, and basically all of those games counted towards that top 10 total, and essentially you'll be sitting there W keying your butt off, trying to find as many kills as possible, and that's sort of against the nature of the late game tournaments, because you want a tournament that's basically focused on the late game, as the name implied. But there was a little bit of a clarification on it. In this tournament, in the trio and the solo late game tournaments for all prize and non-prize tournaments, you only have 12 games in total. Now, that is a bit of a savior. I'm happy to hear that. So basically, you can play 12 games in total, but only the 10 best games that you have will count. So what is strategy going to be looking like for this sort of tournaments? I do think we're still going to have stacked end games because you only have 12 games, and in 10 hours, you basically play about 10 minutes per game. So you have, you know, a bit of leeway there, but you don't want to be losing too many games out. So a lot of people will start to W key in the first 2 games more than likely to sort of find themselves the best 10 games than possible, and then those bad games where they do fail that W key, they'll be able to throw it away and they're able to move up that leaderboard. But I'll be very interested to see which players can basically step it up and find themselves moving up on this leaderboard and who's going to do well, because if you take a look at the way that this is, solo cash cups are all about the mid game, right? It's all about the early game, finding a draw spot, and then progressing through the mid game so that you have the maximum amount of materials to go through. But late game arena, all you have to do is just box up, launchpad first moving, and that's it. You have max mats basically going into first moving. So we might see a bit of a shift of the more mechanical players doing super well, because those are the ones that maybe are not as smart to navigate through the mid game, then find themselves max materials or have the good rotations in third and fourth zone. But when it comes to a late game arena, they might be the absolute beasts at late game and doing super well. So we see a few names maybe popping up, but the question is, with Malibuca doing super well in solo cash cups, is it just going to be, you know, run away from Malibuca in the late game tournament for solos? And also going into the trios, well, Queasy and Nas and Thomas HD dominate in the same fashion, or with Malibuca, Murstache, and Tayson maybe take that over as the more mechanical fighting trio. I'll be very interested to see. Should be a fun tournament to watch, and I'm very glad that they clarified that it wasn't an infinite amount of games, because that would have been horrible for the game and the format overall. Thank you guys so much for watching. Appreciate it. If you haven't already, make sure you give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. We do viewing parties of all of these tournaments, including the Duo Cash Cup today at 3 p.m. If you want to watch it together with me and we do some predictions and analysis, well, then stop by twitch.tv/CoachBoop. Have yourself a good one. Goodbye.